Troops of Operation Hadin Kai, OPHK, have arrested 33 security operatives comprising 18 soldiers and 15 police officers over alleged involvement in the illegal sale of weapons to terrorists and criminal groups. The announcement was made in Maiduguri by the CSR commander of OPHK, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, represented by the Staff Officer Administration, Major Ademola Owolana. According to him, the arrests were part of Operation Snowball, a covert mission launched in August 2024 to dismantle arms smuggling networks operating within the military and police ranks. The exercise, which spanned 11 states, including Bauchi, Benue, Borno, Ebonyi, Enugu, Lagos, Plateau, Kaduna, Rivers, Taraba, and the Federal Capital Territory, also led to the arrest of 8 civilians and 1 traditional ruler. Among the high-profile suspects is Ame Raphael, and Amoriel was the 7th Division Garrison, who had reportedly been involved in arms racketeering since 2018 and had a staggering 45 million naira in his bank account. Another military officer, Saidi Adamu from the 3rd Division Ordnance Services, was said to have 34 million naira linked to similar activities since 2022. Additionally, investigators uncovered that a police inspector, Enoch Ongwa, had facilitated arms transaction amounting to 135 million naira through his personal bank account. Authorities say the arrest marks significant progress in sanitizing the security forces and weakening the supply chain of arms fueling insecurity across Nigeria. Please, I'd love to get what you make of this. Although we've gotten similar story of a particular security operative that was apprehended on routes from the FCT to Kwara State, with certain ammunition and allegedly, delivering it to terrorists. And then we're now getting this again. And this particular one was the certain amounts we're seeing in the bank account. It means this action has been reoccurring. I remember a time the House of Representatives called the chief security officer over the number of weapons that have not been accounted for. About thousands of weapons that have not been accounted for. And the story came up, and we were waiting for developing story over that up till now, but we're yet to, get an outcome over that situation. I want to get your thoughts on what you make of this, please.
Well, thank you. If I had said this some time ago, if I had personally accused the military of being an accomplice or actually fueling the never-ending insurgency in the country, some persons will come for my head. But as much as I want to give kudos to the military, to the security agency for trying to purge itself of these dubious elements, for trying to sanitize the system, I also want to say that much is left to be done, because you want to look at the recruitment process. Are you with me? You want to look at, you see, this whole thing, there are things that we call nipping things in the bud. Do you understand? I'm sure that in Senate climes, before, okay, let me, for example now, the former ambassador of Nigeria to the Royal Kingdom of Netherlands, the Dutch, His Excellency Ambassador Jingova, told me some time ago that before he was even given this letter of credence, before he was even sent to Netherlands on the foreign mission, that he was surprised when he got there. The Netherlands government just placed before him his own life. Do you understand? Due diligence, like who is coming to our country. Like he was surprised that months, because it took time for them to be dispatched, for them to assign to their missions, that months before their departure, that the foreign mission, foreign government has sent people to Nigeria to investigate, to do a background check of all the ambassadors. Do you get that? That's Senate land. You look at our recruitment processes. You want to bring a condemned criminal to the army and you put him in charge of the armory. I realize serious people. And you see these humongous amounts, these sums in their bank account, these transactions. What do they do? So a whole lot is wrong. A whole lot is not connecting. When we used to say, oh, thank God for the internet, thank God for the seemingly freedom of speech and expression, even if the government tries to stifle the extent to which people can actually express themselves vis-a-vis the people whom ordinarily should be quiet. You will not tell me that you've never come across any clips on the internet where a soldier is actually accusing his superiors, where soldiers, the lower cadre, are lamenting what they go through, are lamenting lack of firepower to contain insurgency, are lamenting about not being taken care of their welfare. See, these are the issues where so many catch of arms are missing, where the military, somebody whom actually swore an oath to protecting lives and property, to protecting our territorial integrity, is beginning to aid and abet crime. So how can we get it right? How can we end insurgency? How can we end security when those people responsible for that fight for protecting are actually encouraging, actually supporting, without even any sign of conscience? So if you ask me a whole lot, I told you the system is sick, but I will give kudos to the military. And not just that. You see these people that do these things, they don't do it alone. They do these things with the rank and file. Some persons on top actually benefit from this as well. So it's not like they found those within the lower ranks and you want to punish them. The heads should also roll from the top, because we are aware where a police officer says that the monies they collect on the roadblocks, all those checkpoints, that they give it to their ogas. So everybody is an accomplice. Everybody is culpable in that rank and file, within that agency, within that outfit. So much is to be done, and it all boils down or revolves around our failed system.
If I may ask quickly, do you think this incident could be one of the reasons why there's been escalating situation of insecurity in the country, especially most parts of the northern
I just say so. They're actually fueling the insecurity, because I just told you where an officer comes online and begins to lament that the Boko Haram, the bandits and what have you, these insurgents, the criminal elements have more firepower than a supposed military officer.
Because yes, there's been questions over that. How come they possess most of those arms?
How do those arms get to them? Now we are saying it now. If we had said it earlier, you ask me, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. We are saying what? No, we don't have any proofs to verify. You're doubting the veracity of my claim. Now we are saying it's staring right to our faces. It's before us right now. So it's internal. It's internal. And now you want to ask, does it mean that the lives that are lost doesn't matter anymore? Is that what what we are saying? This is what the government is telling us. So the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, the Rear Admiral, the Navy, the Air Force, the military, the police, I think it's important. There should be a reorientation.
Well, what do you think is that driving force that can, impel most of the security operatives. The police is also inclusive in this, and soldiers to want to get involved in such acts.
It's corruption. It's corruption that has actually eaten deep into the fabric of this of our system. It's a headed monster that needs to be taken care of. But if you ask me, there's been no solution in sight, because it has to come from the head. Trust me. At least we once had a governor in this state, in the person of the Right Honorable Chibi Rotman Mechi, and we saw what he did when it comes to security. So it's about the head. A political leader, the governor, the president, there should be a conscious effort to actually sanitize the system. Heads should roll. You see,
you've been using that word consistently when you refer to the head should roll. Can you make me understand what you mean?
Because what I mean is, whoever is culpable,
okay, should be apprehended.
Should be meant to face the rest of the law.
Okay.
Be prosecuted.
Okay.
Now, you just said that the National Assembly, there was reports where arms were being siphoned, or where arms were being smuggled from where it was supposed to go to another source, and it was actually stopped, or how do I put it, for want of word, it was actually checked, and it was they met and they were apprehended, so they were arrested. Now, the investigation, the culprits, what the developing stories, we didn't get the end of it, right? We didn't get, you just said it now. We didn't get the end of it. So what happened to the culprits? Were they prosecuted?
You know, this insurgence that's been happening nationwide, you know, lives has literally been lost. A lot of lives have been lost. You know, we know that the government, the military is part of the government. One of their responsibilities is the protection of lives and property. You know, when it comes to that point where they are the ones taking the life here, indirectly, allegedly, because the sale of arms to these terrorists that unleash this mayhem on the people is more like it's an accomplice situation. What do we make? What do we present ourselves as a country to other countries? You know, and we're known to be the giant of Africa. How does that present us out there, please?
It's the image. Trust me, the image Nigeria has in the Committee of Nations is quite a very shameful one. Trust me, it's a shameful one, because you know it's a digital world. Trust me, no matter what you do, there is a limit to which you could curtail this news, this information from going out. And as these things filter out of our own territorial zone, it begins to portray to us as a very, very unserious people. Some time ago, one of the former PM of British said Nigeria is fantastically corrupt. What an impression! What a remark! What a remark! So you think they don't know? You think we can't beat our chest, giant of Africa? How? I know this is a much viewed program, and I must refrain from using certain terms. But
yes, please.
For want of word, I'm disappointed. I'm actually disappointed, because we are not ready to move forward. We are not ready to show leadership to Africa. We are not ready to show leadership to Africa.
Do you think there's a possibility that this corruption can be curbed to an extent, or possibly be reduced to the barest minimum?
It's getting the right leaders. Simple. It's getting the right leaders. You cannot tell me you have people who have very, very questionable, non-public, I mean, it's in the public glare that these people have a very questionable background, and somehow they just find their ways to the apex of leadership, governance. What do you expect from them? You don't expect nothing, because as far as we are concerned, they are going to do nothing short of perpetrating those things, encouraging those things that has actually aided them up or made them rise to that apex, to the zenith of their desire, their ambition. So if you find a criminal as a leader at a particular sector in the society, it could be a state, trust me, you shouldn't expect nothing better. Trust me, because there are syndicates. It's a ring. It's coordinated. So he has people. It's coming from somewhere. So when you have warlords or leaders of the underworld rise to fame, rise to power, it gives more impetus to the organization where he's coming from. So there is no end in sight to these things until, as a people, just like it almost happened in the previous elections, where a particular set, where there was this consciousness to taking the soul of this country in our hands, to trying to, for once, be responsible for the leaders we enthrone in leadership. It almost worked. I won't mention it, but it almost worked. So when we get it is when we get to that stage, then, because trust me, believe it or not, the citizens are accountable or responsible for the kind of leaders they enthrone. So whether the leaders come through hook or crook, we are responsible. It doesn't look like we are helpless. We can actually do something. So first, for the military, the recruitment process is very important. Not because one man has people, one man is in a position of influence and the person can just bring out anybody, and you don't check the background information where somebody is coming from, and you just begin to recruit every tick, Tom and Harry into a sensitive position of the military. Then it means nobody is safe anymore. Every day you hear loss of lives. Just the other day at Benue, you see a whole community is ransacked. Like insurgents, the bandits come and they ransack a whole community, and they have it at their, like nobody is stopping them. Have you seen the country? Nobody is stopping the insurgents. Even the military formations are at the mercy of the bandits. So where do you go from here? When you give the insurgents more impetus to unleash mayhem, unleash terror and violence on the citizenry, where do we get our help from? So it's a terrible situation.
Well, we got your thoughts on that, Mr. Victor.